Hello all and welcome back. In this video, we are going to cover S3 event notification followed by a quick demo. S3 event notification feature enables notifications to be triggered when certain events happen in the S3 bucket. Notifications are enabled at the bucket level and can be configured to be filtered by the prefix and the suffix of the key name of the objects. However, filtering rules cannot be defined with overlapping prefixes, overlapping suffixes, or prefix and suffix overlapping. S3 can publish the following events: new object created events, object removal events, restore object events, reduce redundancy storage RRS object lost events, replication events, and much more. S3 can publish events to the following destination: SNS topic, SQS queue, and AWS Lambda. For S3 to be able to publish events to the destination, the S3 principal should be granted the necessary permissions. S3 event notifications are designed to be delivered at least once. Typically, event notifications are delivered in seconds, but can sometimes take a minute or longer. In this demo, we are going to configure S3 event notification for an object addition event to notify all the destinations, including simple queue service, simple notification service, and a Lambda function. Let's get started. Let's navigate to the S3 console. We already have a bucket Jayendra Patil created in the US East 1 region, and we are going to use the same for our demo. The bucket does not have versioning enabled. We don't need it for this demo. And there are no event notifications configured yet for this bucket. Let's get started and define our event notification with simple queue service as the destination. Let's first navigate to the SQS console. We already have a standard SQS queue created with the name a demo queue. S3 event notification currently only supports SQS standard queue and does not support the FIFO queues. We will need to update the SQS access policy to allow S3 to be able to push messages to it. Remember, you need to update the policy before you configure SQS as the S3 event notification destination. We will add the following statement to the existing policy. This policy basically allows the S3 principal access to send message to the SQS queue. We can fine-tune it further by adding a condition to grant only the specific S3 bucket to be able to push the messages. But this is fine for now. Let's save the changes. We will now navigate back to our S3, Properties, and the Event Notifications section. Let's create on the Create Event Notification. Let's name the event as S3 Event Notification SQS. We can configure the events to be filtered by the prefix and the suffix of the key name of the objects. However, remember, filtering rules cannot be defined with overlapping prefixes, suffixes, or combined. We will apply the filter with prefix SQS/ and leave the suffix blank. S3 supports event notifications for various events including object additions, removal, lifecycle events, and others. We will apply it for all object create events. Let's now configure the destination. Event notifications support Lambda, SQS, and SNS as destinations. Check the note it mentions before S3 can publish messages to the destination. The S3 principal should be granted access to call the relevant API to publish message, which we have already done by configuring the SQS resource-based access policy. Let's select the SQS queue and choose from the existing SQS queue. Let's save the changes. Now we have our event notification configured with SQS as the destination. Let's quickly test our changes by adding a new object to the bucket. We will create a folder SQS which we have configured as the filter. And let's upload a test file into the same. Let's navigate back to the SQS console and check for new messages. We can poll for the messages, and we have new messages delivered. The messages are for the folder that we created, one for the SQS testing text file that we uploaded. Let's check the first message. And this message is for the SQS testing text file. Let's format the structure and check. It has the details covering region, principal, S3 bucket name, object key, among others. If the bucket has versioning enabled, you would have the version ID as well. There is a message for SQS object as well, which is acting as a folder currently. And there is a test event from S3 as well. Let's delete the messages now. So we have successfully configured our first S3 event notification with SQS as the destination. Let's now begin our event notification with Simple Notification Service SNS as the destination. Let's navigate back to S3, Properties, and the Event Notifications destination. Let's first configure the SNS topic to allow S3 bucket access to publish messages to SNS. Let's navigate to the SNS console. We already have a standard SNS topic created with the name Demo Topic. SNS resource-based access policy for the SNS topic needs to be updated to allow S3 to publish messages to it. Let's edit the SNS topic. We will add the statement to the existing policy. This statement basically allows S3 access to publish message to the SNS topic. Once again, we can further add conditions to grant only the specific S3 bucket to be able to push the messages. But this is fine for now. Let's save the changes. For SNS testing, we need a consumer or a subscriber to test. We can actually use the same SQS queue and subscribe to the SNS topic. Let's navigate to SQS and update the SQS access policy to allow SNS the ability to push messages to the SQS queue. Let's use the following policy statement. This statement basically allows all SNS access to publish message to the SNS queue with the condition matching the ARN of the SNS topic. Let's save our changes. Let's navigate back to the SNS console and create the SQS subscription. Click on the Create Subscription. The topic ARN is the SNS topic. Protocol would be Amazon SQS. Endpoint will be our SQS queue, the demo queue. Let's go ahead and create the subscription. And the SQS subscription has been created. We'll now navigate back to S3, Properties, Event Notifications, and create a new event notification. Let's name the event S3 Event Notification SNS. We can configure the events to be filtered by the prefix and suffix of the key name of object. We'll apply the filter with prefix SNS/. Let's apply the event notification for events with all object create events. Let's select the SNS and the existing SNS topic. Let's save our changes. We can now quickly test our changes by uploading a new object to the S3 bucket. Let's first create the SNS folder, which we configured as the filter, and upload an object to it. Let's navigate back to the SQS console and check for new messages, which would be routed from the SNS topic to the subscriber SQS queue. One should be for the folder that we created and the other for the file that we uploaded. The first message is for the SNS testing text file. Let's format the structure and check, and it has the same details covering the region, the principal, S3 bucket name, object key. If the bucket has versioning enabled, you would have the version ID as well. This is the message for the SNS object, which is acting as the folder. And there is a test event from S3. Let's delete the messages now. So we have successfully configured an S3 event notification with SNS as the destination and the SQS as the subscriber to the SNS topic. Let's now define event notification with Lambda as the destination. The Lambda function will just log the event data to the console, and we will check the same in the CloudWatch logs. Let's navigate to the IAM console first and create an IAM role for Lambda to be able to access CloudWatch logs and poll the S3. Let's create a policy. We are going to select the JSON and add the policy to allow access to CloudWatch logs, create log group, push logs, and access to get object on the S3 bucket. Name the policy as S3 Event Notifications Lambda policy. Let's create our policy. And the policy has been created. We will now attach the policy to the IAM role. Let's create an IAM role. Trusted entity is AWS service, and we will select the Lambda service. Let's select S3 Event Notifications Lambda policy to be attached to the IAM role for the permissions. Name the role as S3 Event Notification Lambda role. Let's save the changes, and the IAM role has been successfully created. Let's navigate to the Lambda console and we will create a Lambda function. Select the author the function from scratch option. Runtime is Node.js with a 64-bit architecture. Let's name it S3 Event Notifications Demo. Now let's change the default Lambda execution role and select the IAM role that we just created. Rest of the configurations are fine. Let's go ahead and create the function. And the function has been successfully created. Let's replace the template code with our code. This code just processes the event data that it receives and outputs it to the console. Let's deploy the code. We can configure the event notification from S3 or add a trigger from the Lambda interface. Let's add a trigger from the Lambda interface itself. Select the source and select S3, and it provides the same configuration as the S3 event notification. We'll select the S3 bucket. Event type can be set to all object create events, and you can see the other various options from the drop down. We'll filter the events using prefix lambda /. Let's add the message which says I acknowledge that using the same S3 bucket for both input and output is not recommended, as this configuration can cause a recursive invocation, increased Lambda usage, and an increased cost. Let's add the trigger. And the trigger was successfully added to the function S3 event notification demo. Let's navigate to the S3 console and select the bucket properties, checking the event notification, and you can now see the Lambda function being associated. Let's create the Lambda folder and upload a file to the folder. This should have triggered the Lambda function. Let's check the Lambda logs from the CloudWatch logs. Lambda would create a log group and a log stream with the date and the Lambda version, which is the latest for now. Let's navigate the logs. And we can now see entries in the log for the function, the folder, and the file with the event as well. The event has the details covering the region, principal, bucket, object, key. And there are similar other events for the folder as well. So that's it for the S3 event notification demo and its integration with SQS, SNS, and Lambda function as the destination. I hope you liked the demo. Thank you all.
Alright, that was it. Thank you for watching. You can check out my website and connect me on LinkedIn and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. For any feedback, please leave a comment down below. To see more videos like this in the future, hit the subscribe button. Thank you.